Hi, everybody. Welcome to the QB School. I am JT O'Sullivan. Today, Jordan Love, the Pack, Thanksgiving Day. Fired up for this one. Let's get it going. Welcome to the QB School. Before we dive into the video, a quick reminder about the Quarterback School Patreon community. This group is the foundation, the bedrock of the channel. Not only is it a great, inexpensive way to support the channel, but you get even more Quarterback School content. So hop over there, join, become a member. I really do appreciate your support. As for this video, let's get into it. Jordan Love, the Packers. Have yourself a Thanksgiving Day, a little A with some play action here. Get us going. This thing felt like a little flashback to me, being on the other side of the 07 game here where Favre turned it into a Wrangler commercial. Jordan Love out there dealing. I mean, beautiful job here. I love the play action, driving the ball down the field. Not my favorite routes versus man coverage, but man, when you can throw a handoff like this with anticipation, let's go. So we're going to have the split flow action. So we've got this cross action coming downhill at the second level of the defense. We're going to run down the field on these deep curls, come back to the quarterback. Back to the quarterback. Again, not my favorite routes versus man coverage just because of the static nature, meaning that we're stopping at the top of these routes. But still, this is a beautiful throw, and I will pause it at the top so you can see the anticipation. That split flow action. He's going to throw it in perfect rhythm. One hitch, ball out. So you can just watch the back of the drop. One hitch, ball's coming out. He's going to throw it right there. Not turned yet, not turned yet. Mirrored concept. Ball is a handoff on the body, on the break, and we are rolling. Next one here, another beautiful throw. I'm going to call this a square out down here to the bottom. Now, this is a funky coverage. I would classify it as combo coverage where we're catching most likely quarters down here to the bottom and some iteration of two-man or match up top because we're running with the routes on our left here. But again, the accuracy, the rhythm, the timing, the anticipation, it's a thing of beauty. It really is. So first off, just lock in on the coverage structure. You can see middle field open. What I'm saying here coverage-wise, to me, this plays itself out like quarters. You can see down here we're running with these crossers. We're matching up with the backfield action up top. And then the actual route distribution, normally this to me is a rolled speed out. If we're in gun, rolled speed out to me is usually 3 no hitch or shuffle. Jordan here takes 3 and a hitch. It times up a little bit better with more traditional like square out timing. But this again, you have to acknowledge the fact that whatever it is, it's elite timing and rhythm. He's going throwing that thing right there. Again, we're not quite out of it right there. And again, the thing that I think is super impressive besides just the anticipation, right, is the fact that we've got this flat defender trying to reroute the number 2, and then he doesn't really push past the numbers, but this throw has to be right on. And again, that's not terrible coverage here with whatever's going on at the corner. Again, you can see the match elements up top. So it's just a beautiful job of being able to decipher the coverage, deliver the ball on time with great accuracy, precision, anticipation. Next one here. This is one of the few quote unquote straight up misses in this game for me with Jordan Love. Now it's a little bit out of structure. It would have been a hell of a play, but this is probably your 5th touchdown pass if we can play catch out of structure here up top. And again, it's not an easy throw. You're moving to the right. You've got 2 guys coming towards you, but that's certainly a throw that Jordan Love probably thinks he should make the vast majority of the time. Now, the Packers love this play, this big play action. They sell this like double crosser, and they end up coming out at kind of both deep outs or deep corners. Whirly bird action, double slice, not there, not there. I think he makes a good decision not to throw it. And then as he gets out here, he just skunks that thing. I mean, any better throw there that's not a Tebow, is probably going to walk into the end zone. And so again, post shift, post motion, post play action, you get the split flow slice action. I would say normally, this action looks like crossers. We're going to sell it. They both come out of it. Now, maybe they have the freedom to settle down if they don't think they're going to be able to get outside the corner and like Travis Kelce that thing. But as we extend here with this fake around and he turns into a viable option, it's just one of those plays where I think, if you were to ask Jordan, he would say, yeah, I can give us a better ball and we can score here, because this is a great job of making a good decision. It's not there. Protect the play caller. Nothing's there. They've got us out leveraged everywhere. Got to go, extend, create, make something happen, keep your eyes downfield, and then just give us a chance with the throw. Next one here, 2nd and long, trying to get halfback. We're going to run stick down here to the bottom. We're going to have Watson on the crosser coming across the field. Now, everything is there except probably the accuracy here. I would also say, I personally would be a little critical of the route, not necessarily because it's a horrific route, but just the top of it, to me, versus man, it's a little bit safer, a little bit easier with a flatter angle. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm in their wide receiver room and know exactly what the depth of this route is supposed to be. Maybe they expect him to run over there like this. I would say universally on these types of crossers versus man coverage, so press man coverage, as you come across here, usually you want to give them a little stair step and then you want to keep it flat. So you keep that separation as you run across. The other thing that running flat across does is it keeps you away from the middle field player. If you drift upfield, this guy now all of a sudden can become a factor in this throw. So the first thing to watch is just the stick element of this. Now again, on this channel, I like to say that stick sucks versus man coverage, and this is a perfect example of why. Even if you're allowed to run out of that thing, they easily match to it. They easily identify the concept. So the stick is a nothing. It's a zero burger down here to the bottom. Now, as Watson comes across on this crosser, give him something and then come flat, 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 flat. See him drift. And now a better ball here is probably going to be a collision because we're kind of drifting up the field. And then again, if you don't have Watson there, you've got up top on the end. Next one here, we got out of structure. We take an L on the right side of the offensive line. Jordan Love's got to go. We've got Watson on the crosser. Again, to me, this is not a horrific throw. Is it a catchable ball? Perhaps. Could we give a better ball? Sure. Is it easier if we can pick up the stunt up front? Hell yeah. But again, that hits us in the hands. It would be great to catch that. It's probably on your fingertips, but you got both hands on it. Now, that being said, can we give a better ball? Probably, but he's out of structure, full stride, taking a hit. I don't think it's a terrible throw by any means. Now, offensive line-wise, the center and the right guard have to be able to pick this up. You've got to be able to give us a fighting chance versus this kind of internal stunt. And so when you watch the left side of the defensive line, so these two guys right here, they're going to run a little game and cross here and then come across. You've got to, at the really the center position more than the guard here, has got to be able to feel that and come off on this thing, because we've got to be able to give us a chance to at least hit our back foot and navigate through the first part of this read. We can't have a free runner in the A gap like this on just a high school Harry stunt. Whoop, that's a bad feeling. Turning your back, play action, turn around. A lot of blue running right at you. Get out, get downhill. Almost. Next one here, just a massive, massive touchdown play. 4th down, we're going to throw what looks like a little bit of a double move. I can't even tell if it's a double move or he just runs right by him, Wicks. This is a uber aggressive call. Not only to allow him to do this as kind of an alert versus that kind of middle field closed man coverage, but we're throwing it down here, 4th down. They're running old school shallow cross, not my favorite play. Got Turkey Man doesn't think it's a catch, but that thing is, it's one of those things for me, and I'm going to tread lightly, okay, because I know when you're coming off kind of the last pass of this game, Jordan Love played at a really high level going backwards. It can be one of those things where your greatest strength can also be your biggest issue sometimes, because, this is one of those ones where, it's great because they hook it up. I think a lot of things go right here for them to hook this thing up. any later, this guy makes a play. A better angle, this guy makes a play. Better one-on-one coverage here. This is tough. What shallow cross is as a concept to me is the over-the-ball hook, the shallow, runaway versus man, settle up versus zone, out of a condensed formation. It's usually with a 7-stop or swirl, and then this kind of like check swing. And so if this shot down the field isn't there, maybe you have this. But what I'm saying, the biggest, strength for Jordan Love sometimes on that last play of the game, and we'll see later, is he has the ability to work backwards. Like his arm strength, his torque, his rotational ability to drive the ball down the field is pretty spectacular. And that sometimes allows him to play things that are a little later that can get you in trouble down the field because they're not perfectly on time in rhythm like he does a lot, but he can get away with working backwards. And right here it works. Hit that back foot, back, and again, some contact down the field there. Again, that's real close to this middle field safety coming over and making the play. So it's great when it works. It really is. I just want everybody, when you're watching the film and you're like, potentially issues down the road in meaningful football games, when we're working backwards like this, it is very difficult to do. It's not that he can't do it. It's just hard to be consistent. Now that right there is a dot. And right on cue, we have an example of working backwards, not being able to put it where we want. So play action fake, got goes on both sides. This ball's underthrown. That's not a back shoulder throw. That's an underthrown go ball. So I don't think anybody, is confused enough to think that Jordan Love doesn't have the arm to make this throw. The thing about it is how he's going about it. That kind of like backwards chuck, and usually and oftentimes it works to say all of a sudden, man, if we don't have to, I don't think we want to live in that world. And so again, middle field closed, man-to-man, press man. The Lions are giving you 2 middle fingers, saying you can't beat us. This guy easily goes this way. It's a perfect read. We just have to be able to get everything we can into this throw. And we see him later get everything he can into throws. But this is a throw where we just don't need to be working backwards. We don't need to be late on this go ball. So come up, see the middle field player, pick a side, get the ball out. And again, I'm not, it helps when your left tackle doesn't take an L inside. I get all that, okay? But, that's, I'm being generous, 10 yards underthrown, 15 yards underthrown, maybe. And they've got him. They've got a premium look. Middle field closed, press man, watch the middle safety. He's out of there. Whoop. Now, if they read it, I will say this. If they're asking Jordan Love to look here, 1, and then come out and throw a go, 2, which I highly doubt. Every system I've ever seen is 1 to the goes, 2 to whatever the middle field read is or the crosser. So there's a go on this side, 1 to 2 here, pick a side. This guy to me moves this way. Now, is that because Jordan Love is looking at the crosser and then throwing the 1? If that's the case, then I'm totally against how they're reading it. I just doubt that's what they're doing. He might be going a little rogue here on us, and that makes us late down the field. So, and that's off your back foot, and that ain't it. Next one here, 3rd and medium. We got Watson coming across the motion into a quick out. A little all stick down here to the bottom. I love the decisiveness, the quickness, the twitch, the torque from Jordan Love here. Throw a strike on 3rd and medium. So last time they did this play, they ran it with true stick, like a stick and a flat. This time they ran it with all stick. All stick in West Coast verbiage is quick out with a stick by the inside. So quick out by the number 1, Watson coming across, stick by the number 2, and then that same concept on the backside. So here's a quick out, here's the stick. Again, last time it was, I think the guy was up here, it was stick with flat. So the spacing of it is different. You read this thing different. If there's free access on the outside, so meaning he's not pressed, he's off, that's a premium look for this. Just take it. Okay, middle field closed, like the quick out, quarters like the quick out. If it's not there, you've got one of these guys coming on that crosser. Remember we tried to hit Watson last time. I wanted him to come flat. with that in, and then it's usually paired with a check swing or check wide. So same play, a little bit different concept on the front side, a different iteration of stick. But I love Jordan Love be able to left, right, boom, ball out. All those cleats in the ground, the torque, the accuracy, love it. Next one here, another third down, third medium. We're going to hit the little, I guess you'd call this another sail. Again, this looks like a very similar play to the scramble play that we skunked earlier as far as what the inside routes are doing. To me, this is a nice job from Jordan Love, buying a little bit of time, feeling the pocket, poise in the pocket, driving the ball down the field. Now, does he get a little fortunate that the defender falls? Probably. But nice job moving to your left, finding that sweet spot, driving the ball, putting it right on, and giving him a chance. So the motion is going to operate as basically a clear. So again, as we go across, I'm sure you went to school on the motion. So sure looks like man-to-man coverage, right? If you look down here to the bottom, this looks like man, this looks like man. We're running with this, looking like man. Got two safeties out here. You know, who knows, is it going to be two-man bracket? It doesn't really matter. We're going to end up running the clear here. And then what I'm saying here are these kind of, again, selling these crossers and then coming out of these things again. So they obviously are super comfortable with this play. It's a nice job. I think it's Dobbs down here to the bottom selling the crosser with his eyes, even though it's not open. Get your eyes back and then snap out of that thing. And again, when Jordan Love throws this thing, he's throwing it right there. I mean, that's anticipation, y'all. That's good coverage. You know, whether they click feet or what. Little turf monster at Ford Field. Next one here, second and long. We're going to do a little naked keeper going to our right, the bottom of the screen. We're going to try to get Watson in the flat. The corner's going to pop on us. Again, I feel like I talk about different versions of this play seemingly every video, but from a condensed formation, you're almost always going to get somebody in the flat, somebody in the cross or over, and somebody to the corner. And so the inline tight end here, the number 2, the guy with his hand on the ground, he's running to the corner. We've got Thor, who has to run fit and man-to-man coverage. Not going to be able to do it. It's a hell of a catch. Nice throw on the run in structure. Now, how this play is usually played is a few things. First here, the ball's usually trying to go to the sneak or slide flat, and that's kind of 1. Then this crosser is usually 2. This crosser is usually paired up. You want to be in sync with the quarterback as he comes out, so they're kind of in that same line. And then oftentimes you'll hear me say, from a condensed formation, there's somebody to the corner. Now that corner is not normally part of the read. Like nobody reads this, 1 to 2 to 3, that type of thing. It's really more of, as you come across here, this is where the ball normally goes. This is kind of the second normal option. And then this, some people classify it as an alert. Oftentimes how it's played is it just pops on you. So as you're running out here, you'll go, no, or just see this thing right away. When you get out here, there'll be nobody out here, because exactly what happens right here. You're at the line of scrimmage. He's in like a swap exchange on this guy. He's got him man to man, but he's also got to play the run. And so he gets his nose caught in the run, and we're whoop, got him. And then we just running away from the middle field player. So it's a nice example of how that corner just kind of pops sometimes. Watch the coverage, the glorious hair right by you. Jordan does a nice job seeing it. Nice catch, layout, big explosive chunk. Halftime, you dig the channel and you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications. I really do appreciate when you subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me, so thank you for taking the time and doing it. Again, the Quarterback School Patreon community, you know about it. Join, become a member, get even more Quarterback School content. We also have Quarterback School courses. You can check out all the courses over at the website, theqbschool.com. Hop over there and enroll. Finally, please make sure to follow me across all the different social media platforms. I really do appreciate your support. As for this video, let's get back to it. Next one here, another massive touchdown pass on 4th down. I thought Brady did a decent job of talking about this play during the broadcast. He called it combo coverage. I think most often people refer to it as banjo coverage. Combo coverage is probably a better descriptor of it, even though kind of the in football world phase would be banjo. And again, all it means is that based on their releases, they're going to man-to-man this thing. And so different ways to attack banjo or combo coverage. I love the aggressiveness here from the pack. Really like this design here as far as the combination of the stack, the shift. And again, what that combination, what it looks like here is these two players have these two players, and how they sort it is based on the release. So the nuance and the detail is this, what looks like a switch release. So immediately once Watson goes out, the outside guy is locked on him. And then once he comes in, the inside guy is locked on him. So in a perfect world, okay, so let's just take in a perfect world, if this guy is covering this guy, which way do you think you want him to run? You want him to run in, right? So you up, and so you have him outside leverage on your in. Now, if you're this player and he's covering this guy, which way do you want him to run? You want him to run out so that he's on his inside where you get the leverage that you want away from the defender. So this is an example, in my opinion, of great design. You get both guys running away from leverage. Now, again, it's 0, and it's also great chip on Billie Jean, and so we've got all sorts of time as well. But again, Jordan Love in a retreat mode, can play backwards as well as anybody. That's a strike of a throw, and that's a beautiful touchdown. Next one here, another massive touchdown play. This time, I guess we'll call these double moves. This is a great job of Jordan Love essentially out-throwing the coverage. It's a great job by Watson finishing this thing as well. Condensed formation, 8-person protection, big play fake. Probably not the footwork from a quarterback that you would want on like a clinic tape, but I do love the fact that he's not playing backwards. He gets everything he can into that thing, almost from like the warning track, borderline like, a karaoke type footwork as your warm up. But to me here, roll that thing into this like little pseudo double move, whether this is quarters, bracket, shell, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's basically one-on-one with the wide receivers and the corner when they go out, when they break out. So as soon as they break out here, those safeties are off of it, and it's one-on-one down the field on both sides. Pick a side, based on matchup, wide receiver, whatever you want, and let it rip. You get that one-on-one outside the numbers, throw it right down the line. Boom. And again, if you were looking when the ball was thrown here, I would say this looks like a better potential throw than this, but he's hip to hip right there. Jordan Love just out throws the coverage. The guy just doesn't believe that it's going to get thrown that far down the field. And Watson's got the speed to go get it. That's a hell of a job. And again, the footwork part of it, it really doesn't matter when you're chucking it down the field. It's not quite as dependent on that perfect base in that rhythm timing world where you're in that kind of underneath intermediate zone. But, seeing someone kind of get their back foot behind their front foot like this is not something that you see very often unless you're chucking that thing damn near as far as you can. And it works out right here. He's got a great rhythm to it. And if you can make it work and you can craft it and you can throw the ball like this, go ahead, man. This thing is a thing of beauty, almost like a heat check throw here. This thing is beautiful. Boom. Feel like it needs to come with sound effects. Hell yes. Next one here. This is a funky one. We're going to end up hitting the seam down here to the bottom. Wicks does a great job getting up the seam. It's a beautiful design with a little swap release. This looks like a modern version of what I would classify as Sluggo seam from an offensive perspective. I would also guess on the Lions side here, they probably have someone making a coverage error as far as this much space up the seam, whether it's how their adjustment to bunch, whether it's the corner not getting to his deep third. To me, again, I would classify this as some iteration of combo coverage. This looks like man. Everything else plays out as zone. Is it like 3 buzz or 3 backer, however it hits you, where he's playing the third, he's coming down to the hook curl, those types of things. Is it some sort of box bunch check? I doubt it. This guy's a pretty good player. He probably knows what the hell he's doing. At the end of the day, this looks like a Sluggo to me. And then Sluggo seam, up the seam. And then normally, if you're spread out, this thing is run like a little pivot or hook out here is kind of the last option. I like what they do here as far as having the little looper return with the sit, just more realistic checkdowns or outlets if that Sluggo seam isn't there. But up top Sluggo, no. Back to the seam, beautiful footwork, kick back, drive the ball, get it up and down before the safety. It's outstanding. It's great quarterbacking. It's great scheme. It's a great job deciphering, making the defense pay. So no to the left, back. Again, that's tight. That's phone booth quarterbacking right there. He's not bailing out of there. He's not drifting. He's right where he's supposed to be, driving the ball down the field. Hell yes. Next one here, the 4th of 4 touchdown passes. Let's go. Drumstick time. Just a little naked keeper. Again, he does a nice job, he being Jordan Love, throwing a strike on this flat. Not the easiest play to your left, at a gun. Really, if it's not there, all you have is the tight end running the little crosser on the back line. So this is kind of an all or nothing double pick. You can see the coverage here on Wicks as he comes in short motion. Watch the defense adjust. The new number 1 and the new number 2, so Dobbs and Watson, are basically running picks up top. So pick, pick, pick. And again, you see the defender then have to bubble over. So this is a flat route. His guy covering him, 6, has him man-to-man. When these guys come in and run essentially pseudo picks, they not only bring their route in there, they bring their defender in there. So now 6 has to navigate all this. As soon as he goes over it, it's a wrap. So this is a touchdown. If that wasn't there, there's not a lot there besides the tight end coming across here. So you're kind of rolling the dice on this essentially like pick or rub play, but it's executed at a really high level. Jordan Love makes this look easy. You know, he doesn't have to set his feet, moving to his left. The edge is unblocked right in your lap. So you've got this unblocked defender. You know, you got technically Billie Jean there. And if he doesn't surf this thing, if he doesn't think he's going to get cracked right there, he's right in your lap. That's a hard throw. It's great design, excellent execution, big day. Next one here, big 3rd down. I thought this was probably an obvious missed call penalty here, trying to work Watson on that kind of intermediate out. His left arm obviously gets grabbed. You can see it easily on the broadcast version. You know, even though I was starving at this point, I was still able to decipher that that's a penalty. You can't grab a guy's left hand. What I will say from a Jordan Love perspective, just a really impressive. Again, the accuracy, the timing, the precision. I also love LaFleur just kind of saying, we're doing this. We're throwing this thing to close this thing out. And so, again, little rub, trying to get the right leverage down here at the bottom. I will also say, you know, if you play a team that gives you all these middle fingers where they basically are just like, yeah, we're just going to lock up and match this thing. There's obviously, they've already beat them a lot at the, you know, with rubs and picks. This, what I'm used to calling a swap release. So the 3 goes inside, the 2 goes in, the 3 goes outside, the 2 goes inside. Verse, I'll lock like this. So he's going to go with him. And then as he runs up, I think he runs like a basic here. As he runs up and he brings his guy with him, who's locked up, who's press guarding him, you now have these moving picks again. So now as Watson comes in, watch his defender have to jump way over the top. So as soon as he jumps way over the top, we have him for the leverage we want on this out. And again, it's 3rd down. We're going to throw it past the sticks. I just want you to watch the operation of these 2 guys right here. We manipulate the leverage that we want on this route by the release. These releases don't just happen. These are called, designed, detailed, nuance, how you get people open. And again, you know, in my opinion, a bit of a laugher to play this much tight man coverage and think you're just going to lock on people all day. And again, should have been a penalty. Now, you're not going to get every penalty, but, you know, Jordan Love throws this thing right there. You can see again. I mean, you know, that's not a clean look, right? That's a lot of trust. That's understanding leverage. It's a beautiful job. It really is. I mean, there were a number of these plays where you kind of smile at the design and the architecture of what they're doing scheme-wise. Now, what I personally love for Jordan Love to be lined up to his target going to his left at the top of the drop, probably. I mean, he's essentially proven the fact that it doesn't matter. He can be so precise with the vast majority of these ball locations, especially if he's not falling backwards. So I'm saying at the top of his drop, instead of being lined up like that with his feet. So to me here, you know, he's lined up. If you were to draw a line on his toes like this way, you know, I think most people would want you lined up where you expect the ball to go on that first read at the top of your drop. But man, I'm not sure there's much you would change other than the fact of maybe not playing backwards when you don't have to with Jordan Love. Next one here, just a beautiful 3rd down here. This is really to ice the game. First of a couple big first downs at the end of this thing in the 4-minute offense. This is simply, again, outstanding offense. It's great quarterbacking. He's able to kind of feel the pocket, move a little bit, buy enough time, not have to deal with any issues, throw a super catchable ball. I will say the only thing that I thought was weird in real time was that Watson didn't stay in bounds here. I want you to watch the release up top, another switch release. Whoop! So this switch release, again, double middle fingers. They're going to think that they can press us like this. They're not going to be on the same level, but they're still going to be essentially full press. And as we go switch release this thing, and Watson runs this like mini comeback here, or mini out, the leverage that we want is gained by the switch release, and then watch the anticipation. The rhythm, he's going to throw that thing right there. And again, that's nowhere near out of the break, right? We're throwing it right there. It's just a beautiful job being able to play with outstanding anticipation, accuracy, really precision from Jordan Love. And again, if he's not going backwards, if he's on time in rhythm, you're in trouble. Like it's just that good when it's going good. And that is a strike. Next time, stay in bounds. Next one here, assuming and playing under the 2020 hindsight that all those fourth down touchdowns worked, this was probably the one call that I think LaFleur, potentially I would have done something different as far as running it. If you're going to throw it on fourth down, you could also make the argument that double your chances here, throwing on third and fourth to close this thing out. So I understand it. I don't love the concept that's called here. And again, you can be super picky with Jordan Love here and say, you probably don't have to play this play out of structure with your feet here, meaning that just set your feet. So to me, this is just like a post wheel at the bottom. It's third medium for the game. You're essentially saying we're going to take our shot on this wheel. And if it's not there, we'll have Watson on the crosser. Okay. I would say, I would like this better if this was like a stick nod, like we did earlier, maybe a nod with a wheel, because then we've got multiple chances here. But at the end of the day, I don't think, they would be mad if you said, hey, press coverage, safety, even though it's Branch versus Watson on an in route to win the game. Would we like that? Probably. Again, set your feet, move, set your feet, reset your base, drive the ball down the field, as opposed to, he keeps moving, so he stays on the move here. He's certainly got the arm strength to get there, but if it gets there faster, I think it's a better opportunity to be caught. The little drift, throwing with your feet not set, makes this thing hang up in the air a little long for me. Again, could you say, hey, we want that wheel thrown? Maybe. Again, third and medium, I know they've been super aggressive all day, but that's a tough one. And again, reset your feet, drive the ball, stay friendly if you're the wide receiver down the field, and also tip your cap to 32. That's pretty unbelievable, remarkable coverage. And again, he couldn't do it 2 plays in a row, but right here, third down, they do a good job. Again, set your feet. Still, regardless, pretty damn close. And fourth down here to ice this thing and win this thing. Again, a great job from Jordan Love here. There's no way around it. Like, there just aren't a lot of guys who can play in a retreat like this and throw this kind of ball, not only giving your guy a chance, but the ball location is outstanding, right up on his face. Middle field close, press man. He's got outside leverage. You can see it on the left. The leverage we want, run away, someone right in our lap, getting hit to the ground, just a thing of beauty. It really is. Like, I don't know how else you describe it other than saying, man, this is some outstanding quarterback play. Again, outside leverage. We have the leverage we want on this runner. You see there's nobody back here. Middle field closed. Okay, so that's absolutely outstanding. His ability to drift and play like this, again, it can be your greatest asset like it is right here, and it can cause issues where we've seen in other reps, but this is simply outstanding. Now, the part I want you to appreciate LaFleur with is this is a game winner, and then this is a game winner. That little switch release comeback from the fade or fade comeback. Wide open, mailbox. So we got multiple winners here. Again, to me, visual evidence of good design, good play calling. So down here to the bottom, outstanding. Up top, same route we hit, essentially borderline the same route we hit on the previous third down. Not the previous third down, 2 third downs, the one where we completed it, where I wanted him to stay in bounds. But that's a hell of a play, hell of a catch, super catchable ball, and a great job by Wicks going up to get that thing. But man, inner retreat, right guard back in your lap, getting hit. Look at this ball. That's outstanding. What a great catch, too. Big time football. So that is a wrap. Jordan Love, the Pack, putting on an absolute clinic in Detroit versus a really good team. Now, a lot of man coverage they faced. Thought Jordan Love did a great job of leaning into what he does really well. You saw just unbelievable rhythm, timing, anticipation, accuracy. There were a few instances where he was outside the pocket, where there were probably even some bigger plays available to be made that we missed the opportunity for with. But overall, unreal arm talent. His ability to play moving backwards, when it works, it's a thing of beauty. That thing to close that game out, those are big time throws. I do think in the past, it can kind of have a shadow impact, to the idea being that it's not always great to be moving backwards and play quarterback unless you absolutely have to. Now, when you have to and you do it and you can, that's outstanding, like the last play. When you don't have to, that's when balls come up significantly short. That's when things feel like they're totally out of whack, out of structure as far as what an offense is trying to do. But this game versus all that man coverage, with all the switches and the swaps of the releases and the leverages, Jordan Love, this offense locked in. That was a fun all 22. Thank you so much for hanging to the end. I will see you next time. Have a good one.